Hi, I'm Sister Simone Campbell. I'm the Executive Director of Network Lobby for Catholic Social Justice and leader of Nuns on the Bus. Welcome to our virtual site visit at Homeboys Industry in Los Angeles. I'm really excited because, I come from Southern California, but I'm also excited because 2 years ago, on the very first day of our bus trip, and that was Nuns on the Bus on the road to Mar-a-Lago, we stopped at Homeboys Industries and got a tour. So we thought we would look back at our photo album and get some visual effect. And then we're going to have a chance to have a conversation with some of the men from Homeboys. So, Audrey, why don't we show the video? This is the front of the Homeboy Cafe. Here's a bunch of us in the bakery going upstairs to the briefing we had outside and doing our rally afterwards. But this was the best part, seeing the bread baking. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And this is the electronic work they do. Look at that loaf of bread. Wow. And here's some of the folks making good things happen. The sisters flunked quality control, I'll tell you. We tried to help baking, but we had a lot to learn. Here's all of us with our green hairdos. All right, so you get a little flavor, a little activity. Now I am just really so excited to introduce to our national audience Father Greg and Frankie Reyes. And hopefully we're going to be joined by and we are. We're joined by Miguel, who is also joining us. I'm so glad you men are here. Father Greg, I think most people know about Homeboys, at least I think they do, but maybe you could just, among the three of you, give us a little flavor of what is Homeboys Industry and what are you up to these days?
Well, Homeboy Industries is 32 years old, and we're the largest gang intervention rehab reentry program on the planet Earth. And so pandemic, 15,000 folks a year walking through our doors. So as we have 9 social enterprises and lots of programmatic services, and enemy rival gang members work together baking bread and working in our varieties of restaurants and places. During the pandemic, we've kind of pivoted to address food insecurity in our county. So we have a variety of contracts where we prepare upwards of 10,000 meals every week for seniors and shut-ins and homeless. So that's kind of in a nutshell. And I'm honored. And I'm honored to know Frankie and Miguel. So
I'm excited to know all three of you. And I'm wondering, Miguel, can we start with you? What has been your work at Homeboys just now, during this COVID time? What have you been up to?
Well, I love delivering food to the elderly. That's one of the things, because every elderly woman we see out there, or man, is our uncles or our aunts, and that's something great. Like right now, I just came out from loading up like 6 vans for all the 6 different projects around our area right here, and just trying to feed everybody. And it feels good to be giving something back to the community after taking so much away from it. So it's now we're in the opposite side now, and it feels good to be wearing this logo, this shirt that says Homeboy Industries, and to be a part of what Father Greg has built in the last 32 years.
Wow. Yeah, that would be pride. And I bet that the senior citizens love seeing you because it gets kind of lonely for them, I would bet. Is that what you find? They want to talk to you?
Well, yeah. So sometimes we got like me and Frankie went out there and did a few deliveries. Like we were delivering, and it was like, we had like, what was it, like 50 or 100 houses to stop to. And we have to just like keep going, and sometimes they want to conversate, so you have to give them their time too. So you have to be I just see it like this. It's like if somebody's taking care of my grandma, and if somebody's taking care of my grandma, I want the best thing. Like I want her to walk back inside the house feeling good. Like, oh, this guy just came and he's a good kid. like they always, doesn't matter how old we are, they look at us like kids. So no matter what, we're like, oh, there's a good kid in the community, and he's back. And the most amazing thing is when you're able to do it to people that seen you in the community when you were being a negative part of the community. That's the part when their eyes get watery and they see you and you're like, wow, like I didn't know I had that big of an impact. And the negative side and in the good side. That's what makes it, like, for me, is what makes it beautiful.
Wow, Miguel, that is so true, isn't it? Makes you feel a little proud, a little like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I love it.
And we have to do this. It's not like I can do it. We have to do this. This is it. Like a lot of people always say, Homeboy Industries is a place of second chances. I dispute that. I believe it's a place of first chances, where I finally came to be a member of society for the first time in my life. Because before that, all I knew was the negative side, and now I'm able to see a whole different part of life, and I'm enjoying life to the fullest right now. I love life. That's all I can say. Like, I love life. I'm able to just say, I want to go home. I want to be, like before you couldn't get it. I was always running from something, and now I'm running to it. I'm running back home every time when I get out of work. I'm able to say, okay, I'm gonna clean my backyard. I'm able to be proud of the little things I got. It might not be much to a lot of people, but for me, it's freedom. As being an ex-lifer in prison, and one time thinking I was going to die in prison, and to be here and to just be alive and to see the homies and to be able to help a younger homie just like me to change his life before he has to go through the pain I've been through, is the most beautiful thing.
Wow. So you were in prison for life, you thought?
Well, yeah, they had gave me a triple life at one time, and Judge Scalia actually reversed my thing in an appeal, and thankfully I was able to find Homeboy Industries and walking through the doors and being able to change my life and not go back to because the old life is all we knew before we went to prison. And it was easy to go back to it, but having the doors open at Homeboy Industries, I was able to walk in through the doors and to say, I want something different. And different people here, like from the junior staff to the senior staff, were able to carry me through it. Wow. And every day it still happens every day. Like, you might see a guy that's like 15, 16 years old, but I see myself in them. So it helps me every day to remember, like, why I don't want to go back to that, why I want to be able to live free and be free and enjoy life. And
Amen. Wow, that's so important, Miguel. I'm so glad you're here to have this conversation. This is great. Frankie, can you share with us a little bit about what you're doing at Homeboys these days?
I do a little bit of everything right here at Homeboys. When I first started, I started just hopping on the well, just answering all the voicemails from people that call. Which were a lot, but I went through them. I went through all of them. I reached out back. Eventually, I started doing tours, and then from tours, speaking engagements, and then just about anything I could do at Homeboys, I try to do it, and I like doing it. Right now, I'm doing deliveries for them, also on just 2 days out of the week. But I like it because it's in the area where I grew up in, and I just. Like how Miguel said, like my parents are old. I would appreciate if someone was bringing them food. I'm fortunate enough that I can do it also, but that's what I would want, and I do that now. Apart from there, I work in the lobby right now, where we get people that come in for different reasons, to see Father Greg, to get employment services, just so many things that we offer here. So I help out with the intakes, and it's a trip because there's times where you could see a new face and they're kind of nervous, and they'll just see somebody that we're in jail with here, or they'll see someone who they grew up with here, and they're like, oh shit, I'm sorry, they'll be like, oh damn, I didn't know you worked here, I didn't know you came here. And then little by little, a lot of the energy that you see here and you feel here is because at some point we all relate with one another in more than one ways. So I like seeing that because it helps me to get to where I want to be. I've been in prison. It wasn't a long time, but it was enough to let me know, like, yeah, don't come back.
Don't do that.
And it's the main reason was I can't see myself any age in prison, and I met a lot of men who had done many different terms in there, and I was just like, I'm gonna learn as much as I can from you guys while I'm here, so that I don't make the same choices that you guys made. Not saying that they're horrible men. They're some of the smartest men I ever met, and it's because of them and because of the guys and girls that I meet here that I'm able to do well every day that I wake up. So that's just
That's great. Did I understand? There was a background noise here. Did I understand you were doing something about elections just before we got started? Are you doing an election video or something? I didn't understand that.
Yeah. So there's this thing that felons can't vote, but I know I voted when I was incarcerated, and so people go off of that, like, oh, I'm on probation, I'm on parole, or I've been a convicted felon, or I've been in prison, and just because of those reasons, they don't vote. But what they don't know is that they can still vote. It's just you got to go to the polls. And so we were in videos. We were making videos, letting them know that you can vote.
You're still working, right?
It's pretty crazy because before I went to prison, I voted on a proposition called Prop 57, which reduces time significantly for non-violent crimes. And so that bill was passed in November, and I was arrested in January, and I got sent to prison in July, and I came home the following year because of Prop 57. So it helped me out, and it's just not me, but so many different men who have been in prison for a long time.
And it makes a difference. Voting makes a difference.
Yeah, it does make a difference. I used to believe that it didn't make a difference, but I actually experienced it, and so now I vote.
We'll make you our poster man for saying voting matters. Voting matters. Please.
Go vote for Pedro.
Yeah, absolutely. That's required. Well, Father Greg, how does this work? How do you how do you get folks in? Here we've got two fine gentlemen who are saying, man, this makes all the difference for us. So talk a little bit about the program, but about the relationship. My hunch, this is community, is what we are seeing here, is community. Is that it might be.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's the most compelling, because we don't exist for folks who need help, but only those who want it. So, we're quite large. We've been around for a long time. So anybody from any gang in any zip code in LA County knows who we are and what we do. So, but when they're ready, they come. And even if they're not ready, they still come. And we keep waiting for them till they're ready. And so, they walk through the doors, and you're right about community. It's if trauma, a traumatized person is more likely to cause trauma, then a cherished person will be more likely to find their way to the joy there is in cherishing themselves and other people. And so it's like a sangha, it's a community of practitioners who engage in, we hold each other, and it's a community of tenderness and where people feel valued. And the homies always say, they're used to being watched, but they're not used to being seen. And here we believe that it's the relationship that heals. And so we're all engaged in this effort at arriving at some kind of relational wholeness. And we always say here that there's kind of the therapeutic mysticism of the place is our cultural competence, that you see the whole person. We never get tripped up by tattoos or people's records. We want to see people as God does, which is in a wholeness. And people feel that that's compelling, even if they, trip up and leave. We always say they'll be back, and they all come back. They always come back, because once you've had a taste of this, it's compelling, and people will always return to it, because it's so it's kind of a thrill to be valued and cherished, and it's the thing that motivates, really.
Absolutely. And what I can see in Miguel and Frankie's responses to just what you're saying is how it's true for them. I'm guessing, Miguel, how do you relate to new folks coming in? Because you've made, both you and Frankie have made this journey. And so what kind of advice, conversation, how do you welcome somebody in and help them
Oh wow.
enter?
So here at home, the best way I could describe Homeboys is the biggest garden in LA. It's a big garden, and people come and then you see the flowers just bloom, right? But the best part of this is when you're able to see an enemy, somebody that shot at you or try to jump you before, walk in and ask for help, and you're able to help them and escort them in and walk them in to go see Father Greg and be like, come on, we got you. And when we say we got you, is we got you. It's not just a thing we throw up in the air. It's like being able, and some of us call each other frenemies. We used to be enemies at one time, and now we're friends. And it's that, and it's all about relationship. It's about spending some time. And Homeboy Industries always figures out a way to put people together that we probably would have never been together before in the past. And we sit together in the same car, or we sit together and going to an engagement or working together and being able to humanize each other again and see each other. Like, we don't want other people to criticize us and without knowing who we are, and then so we can't do it to somebody else. And that's what we learn at Homeboys, is that we need to start seeing people for who they are. Like me, like the first thing I did when I came to Homeboys is I left my nickname behind. I don't like people calling me by my nickname. My name is Miguel, so please call me by my name. And being able to do that and be firm with that, and the next homie that comes in and be like, they call me so and so, and then a week later saying, my name is Jose, and you be like, yes, your name is Jose. What's up? Let's go play basketball. Let's go do this.
Yeah.
Like today in the morning, I was running with two homies in the morning, and at 5 o'clock in the morning before coming to work, and different neighborhoods that probably I would have never went to before I was working at Homeboys. I'd be like, oh no way in hell you're gonna catch me over there. Something's gonna happen to me. And being able to be free, it's like different kind of freedoms that people don't understand that we're able to get at Homeboys. Like me, I'm able to say, once I was incarcerated, but I was incarcerated before I was incarcerated, because I was incarcerated myself into my block, into my gang, into my existence. Like, this is all I believe in, this. And now I'm able to say, no, I want bigger things. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to be free and go anywhere. If a Jack in the Box is across the bridge, I should be able to go to the Jack in the Box. Not just say, oh, I'm going to go to Taco Bell because it's the closest one and I'm going to be safe. You know, it's stuff like that people don't take to account, that every day I'm blessed to say, hey, I want to go to the beach and put my feet in the sand and go there and just connect with the Creator again. I'm able to do that now because I'm free. And that's thanks to therapy. Like, the first thing that came at Homeboys was therapy. And being able to have therapy is one of the greatest things that happened to me at Homeboys. And I used to think this was for white people only before growing up. I used to be like, oh, therapy is only for white people. We can afford this kind of stuff. And the Homeboy Industries was able to get me therapy. And I got the same therapist that even right now through this crisis we're going through, I'm able to do Zoom with her and still connect. And she knows some of my darkest secrets that I never thought I would ever tell anybody. And it's not about telling her about my secrets. It's about me hearing those secrets. It's about me being able to understand myself and be able to find myself again. And I'm still working on myself. Don't think I'm already like ready to fly.
Always be working. I'm working on myself. You'll always be working. Yeah.
I'm working, and I still go to therapy. And for me, it's been one of the greatest things I got at Homeboys. It's therapy that I was able to work on myself so I can understand myself. Because for a long time, I kept trying to be somebody else. I kept trying to be that nickname that they gave me in the neighborhood. And I kept trying to live to that. Now I'm able to live what Miguel wants, what Miguel dreams about. Before, dreams were just one of those things that we used to just say as something you say, but now it's something I live, which is different. You know, and I get to say I'm free, and the Creator got me out here, and I'm able to talk to a homie, relate to a homie, and if I don't, I could pass him on to the next homie and be like, look, like, he came from your area, he came from South Central, go ahead and talk to him, or he came from over here, boom, and we able to connect each other and have this is like a whole web. But once you taste this water at Homeboys, you taste the juice. You will be here, you know, and even the guys that still not ready, and I just look at them and like, okay, he'll be back. And when they come back, we have to just have open arms and be like, okay, he made it back.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Is there ever a time where, Miguel, where you feel like, oh, I'll welcome anybody, but maybe it's hard for me to welcome that person or a new person that comes in. Is that ever hard for you? How do you deal with that?
Well, when I was first working on myself, it was hard because I still wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And at first, it like, I have to admit, at first there were certain people that I was like, man, what is he doing here? But then, like Father Greg says, like, everybody's welcome here. And I have to just say, okay, like, and little by little, it's a growing process. We come from a place when we just right away, that's a guy from that side of the block. He doesn't belong next to me. This guy from over here, he got certain tattoos. Oh, that's where he's from? Oh, no, that's my enemy. And then you get to the point where you say, nah, they're all my brothers and sisters. And I think that's what we're trying to get to, even in this country, trying to relate everybody to just be a brother and a sister to each other.
Amen. Amen. Isn't that the truth? I think we need homeboys for the whole nation at this point. We got trouble. We've got trouble. Political homeboys. That's what we need. Now, Frankie, I don't want, if you have to work. Frankie, I'm curious for you, if you're working the front desk, then you have to be really welcoming of everybody and help them move in and understand. How do you do that? How do you get yourself ready for that? And how do you enter in to welcome folks in?
Well, I put myself in their shoes. I put myself in their shoes as best I can. But it's not just me there too. There's a variety of people that are working with me. We have one guy, he's all tattooed on his face, and people are intrigued by, like, damn, like, if he's working here, then I definitely can work here, because who's gonna hire, you know? So that helps out a lot too. But I've always had a heart for helping. So anytime I see like anything that draws my attention, then I'll walk up to it. Like, I'm in a wheelchair, so there's been times that there have been guys here that are in wheelchairs, and when I see them, I'll approach them, like, hey, what's up, dog? Like, my name's Frankie. I had a problem though in the beginning, because when I first got to Homeboys, I was really sketchy about it. I was really sketchy about it, so I really wouldn't talk. I was introverted as much as I could. But I realized pretty quick that there were a lot of people that were going through the things that I either went through or ain't going through, and through the classes like CGA,
what's CGA?
anger management. I would just.
Do you know?
CGA is Criminal Gang Anonymous. So it follows the same steps as NA and AA, but it targets that criminal mind mentality. We've all ran from the cops. We've all hid from them. We've all tagged. It's just different shoes in different streets, and different experiences. So when I've been in class and I've just been quiet and listening to the men and women who share their stories, and then the feedback that they get from others that have either gone through the same thing, I listen and I apply it to myself. And so whenever I meet someone new, like the guys in the wheelchairs, I've been in a wheelchair like 10 years at least. I even forget.
Wow.
But I've met different guys here that are in wheelchairs, and I always approach them and I ask them, like, oh, what happened? Do you drive? Like, there's this guy right here that he did like 8 years in prison in a wheelchair. And so when he came home, I was like, hey, dude, I got you. Like, you need catheters to use the restroom. Here you go. You need parts for your wheelchair. I got you. Because he couldn't go anywhere because he was supervised. So I'll go and get all these little things that I knew he would need for his wheelchair. And now he has his own car. I was able to get him some hand control so he can drive it.
Wow.
Yeah, and hopefully I start playing basketball with him soon, because that's what I like to do. I like to play basketball in the wheelchairs. But going off the subject, because of these classes and everything that we learn here and that I've learned, it makes it a lot easier to interact with others when it's their first time. Because I remember how it was for me when it was my first time.
Yeah. Well, both of you, both Miguel and Frankie, you all just hold. I love the way you hold the memory of who you were and welcome in other people into a new world that you find attractive and important. I guess I want to ask, I guess Father Greg's the best one to ask about. I know you've got like all kinds of programs going on. And Father Greg, can you talk a little bit about the programmatic side of this? I'm really touched by the therapy side, by the CGA, right? CGA
Yes.
Group? Okay, I got it right. and the those support groups. But what else do you have going on? Can I ask that?
What?
I hope. Or is it, or it's going to be up to you guys because he may have frozen. I don't know.
Yeah, so we got so many classes like anger management, parenting classes, and before COVID, we were able to we had a lot of classes.
So you're asking about programs?
Oh yeah, we were trying to ask about programs. Miguel started on anger management stuff, but I'm curious too about.
So, but yeah, so we got it's a whole list of 20 classes. We got like 20, 30 classes, and we just and like for me at first, I didn't think I would have to take domestic violence. Yeah. And I took that class because my case manager, and it's a whole team of people that hold you. It's case managers, navigators. It's a whole, we got a whole, it's a whole setup that Father Greg had created that without having that net to be able to land on, I probably would have felt before, you know, and that was able to hold me back, like having a navigator, having a case manager, having actually that guy that jumped me into my gang when I was 9 years old, being here, working here, and telling me, hey, this is a whole different kind of life that we're going to experience now together. And I'm looking at him like, let's do this, because the other life brought nothing but pain. And the biggest thing we do here is you have to be able to work on that pain so you won't have to transmit that pain to nobody else. Father Greg. Yeah, so that's and so we got a team of people that carry you through everything, like through a lot of. Well, for me, that's been my experience. I always say about my experience. My experience been the one that I had a whole team of people that carried me through so many things. Like I said, like my case manager was pushing me for domestic violence, and I was like, why? I never even had a case of any of that. But I had told her about my mom going through domestic violence, and then I was able to understand my mom and be able to relate to my mom and the whole thing. Once somebody was talking about it, I was like, oh, okay. And I used to be angry at my mom on so many other things, but because I used to tell her, like, why you stay so long? And then being able to take the classes is not only that, she was a victim the whole time herself. And,
right.
And in the process of that, I needed to understand her and not forgive her, but understand her. Because before I used to be angry at her, like, no, you put me through this. You left us there. And now I'm able to say, no, she was a victim herself. She was trapped in her. She had handcuffs before the cops even put them on her, you know. Mm-hmm. And now I'm able to have a better relationship with my mom, with my sister, with different family members, thanks to different classes. Even with the kids, with parenting classes. I didn't know how to talk to the kids. I used to talk to them like they were my homies from the neighborhood. I used to call them homies. I used to be like, look, homie, you need to understand about this. And I'll be like, oh, he's only 5. My bad. You know, and it's the truth. Like I didn't know how to talk to the kids, and I'm able to talk to my nephews, able to talk to my wife's kids. I'm able to talk to them now like they are children, they're kids. I should have stole that from them. Like I stole everything for myself when I joined the gang.
Yeah. Wow. That's profound, Miguel. That's profound. So, Frankie, what's been the best support for you?
Everything, really. Everything. Man, when I first came here, I was nervous. I'm telling you, I was nervous. I had met Father Greg when I was like 15, but then I wasn't ready for what he had to offer. All I wanted to do was just gangbang. But he told me he'll help me get off probation, so I was like, oh, cool. But that was years ago, and so when I came back, I met him again, and it was embarrassing because I felt like, damn, dude, like it took me a long time to be ready for the change that I want now. But as soon as I was ready, they offered me everything, especially my case manager. My case manager, he was dope. He was super cool. Remember, I was really introvert. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but he would always make time for me. He would always take me to go eat. There was times that I didn't have food to eat. I would come and I would fast. I would discipline myself, and I would tell myself I'm gonna fast. And but I don't know how he knew, but there was times where I was really hungry, and he would just call me and tell me, hey, Frankie, when you're on your break, let's go eat. And so we would go eat, and because of that, like I would low-key, I guess he got to me like that. And he would ask me different questions, and I was comfortable with answering them. And before you know it, I'm in therapy. And I was just like, Miguel, I didn't want to go in therapy, not because it was for white people, but because I was told, like, if you go and see a therapy, you're crazy, you have problems, you're weird. And so I didn't want people thinking that I was anything but a writer or a gangster. Um, but when he kept telling me how it helped him, and then hearing it through the morning meetings, all that, and then reminding people to see their therapist if they haven't seen them, I went for it, and ever since then, I encourage others to do it too. So I think for me, it's therapy. It's therapy, and then everything else that I do here, it all just coexists together well. And so every little thing that I've done here, it's come through for sure. Um, um, I'm telling you, dude, like I enjoy being here. I look forward to coming here. I don't like the weekends because I don't do anything, and I just look forward to Monday because I want to come back to work. I want to get back to whatever it is I need to do for this week. Like now, I'm doing a data entry for the meal program, so I make sure that the clients that we deliver food to have the correct information as far as numbers and addresses. So I like making sure that I'm doing my job because that is what makes sure that they get food on the days that they get delivery. So
Oh my gosh,
everything for me is good at Homeboys.
that's fabulous. That's fabulous. So you've got the food program now. Have you all been able to continue the bakery too, or is that?
Yeah, it's still running. It's just it's limited. Before people were able to walk in and not just get food, but they'll take bread. But now they have a little stand where there's just a little bit limited like choices of food and bread and cookies or coffee or that you can get. That's just now though. In time, I'm pretty sure we might have a patio outside and or we'd be able to do deliveries from the bakery apart from what we already do for the elderly. So it's just it's a work in progress, but I'm pretty sure we've been here 30 years. It's gonna get done. Um, Homeboys is patient, and I'm patient, so I'm not really too worried about it. I know whenever it is needed, I'll be there to do it.
That's great, Frankie. I think I need to call you up every now and then because I'm not patient. So I need to be patient. This is good.
Oh yeah, I learned to be patient a long time ago.
Oh my glory. Well, Father Greg, what are the thoughts and plans? How are you adapting at this point? What's it what are the plans of this?
Well, Homeboy, we're just kind of responding to to the pandemic and everything else that's impacting our country at the moment, systemic racism and an awakened kind of language that is very helpful. And we're trying to think in terms of future. So we want to build a transitional housing. In this county, they've decided not to rebuild the jail, which is kind of extraordinary. LA, the old county jail, which is the largest mental institution in the world, is LA County Jail. And so they've decided not to rebuild it. So we would like to imagine an expanded campus here that would respond, in an alternate way to instead of what if we invested in people instead of just try to feudally incarcerate our way out of stuff. So we think we have a good model. I mean, we've been around for a long time, but we also have the global Homeboy network. There are 300 programs in the United States and outside the country that are modeled on our methodology. And so, we kind of give technical assistance that way when people want to respond in a different way instead of incarceration, or how do you respond to homeless, or how do you address mental health issues. And so it's been kind of a very gratifying and heartening to do all that.
Wow, that is exciting. I know at the federal level with legislation, we've been looking for alternatives. And it's really an important piece of work to change this whole incarceration system to doing what you all are talking about being part of community, being there when people are ready to change, providing supportive services, having your team. I mean, that's a lot of conscious work. Yeah.
Part of the problem, though, is that when they want to do alternatives, they go to the prison system itself to provide the alternative, as opposed to the community that has a track record that's been doing the alternative. And so they just try to move it inside, and so we do all these programs inside the jail or the prison,
Right.
as opposed to investing in programs that work in the community. So it's not just dismantling the system of mass incarceration. It's also don't allow the system of mass incarceration to provide the alternative when the community is already doing it. And so it's a decided shift in how they look at the community that kind of knows this issue better than the prison system does. So my hope is that we've all have a kind of a 2020 vision now, where we want to imagine an entirely different social contract that really creates equity in a way that we've never done before. And so I find this time kind of oddly, I'm both hopeful and optimistic, and I'm rarely both those things at the same time. So even for as horrible as things are, I think we're on the verge of something.
Well, from your lips to God's ear is my hope. I hope that happens. Whoa. And I think the point about that the community knows how to respond better than the institution knows how to change. I think that's really an important piece. And Miguel and Frankie, you're showing us that when you're ready to change and you've got the supports that you need, change happens because it's attractive, it's a desire, and then you want to share it. I think for me, that is the attraction of creating a real community that works for everybody. But it's helping people see that, helping people who are watching this see that can work, I think is challenging because we don't know your world. And so we got to understand and open our eyes to something new. And so I'm curious, among the three of you, what do you think, how do we get people to open their eyes so we open up to this new way? What do you think we do? Besides come to Homeboys and walk in and meet Frankie and then get Miguel to show us around. So how do we open up?
So for me, I believe like voting, we have to change stuff in the inside so it can work in the outside. So if people will show up to vote and we can start putting different things in the valley that actually matter to the community, not to the politicians, that's what matters. Like because it's a change, and it's to have a change, we need everybody to work together. And because if not, they keep revolving the money inside the jail. Like me, I would never go to a program that belongs to the CDC department or to any other kind of department inside the system. Because I've been in the system since I was 9 years old. That was the first time I went to juvenile hall, and I was on probation ever since then. And not until I came to Homeboy Industries, I was able to get off of parole, clear my stuff, and now all that no restitution, not being no paper, and I actually have nobody over me.
Wow.
Like nobody over me. I got a safety net. I got Homeboy Industries. I don't need a probation officer. I don't need a parole officer. I don't need none of that. What I needed was my community to be able to hold me, my community to be able to show me love in a different way that I had learned it in my neighborhood. Love where I came from was through violence, and to be able to have love out here and just be able to have sincere love and have Father Greg just see you in the morning. How you doing? Like when I first came to Homeboys, he remembered my name in the first week, and I was like, nobody ever does that. Like, and he remembers everybody's names, even their kids' names, and I'll be like, how he do it? Like I can't do that. And that's being able to see people for who they are, like just be able to acknowledge people and be able to be there with them and not force nobody to nothing, because when you do stuff through the system, they will try to force you through it, or threat you, or tell you like, if you don't do this, we will incarcerate you. So all you're doing is trying to do this through trauma. You're re-traumatizing me every time I step into something with the probation department or parole department, anything like that. It's trauma in there. It's too much trauma. Like, my dad was incarcerated before I was. My brothers were in. I used to get my house raided by them. So if you're talking about like they're gonna be the ones that gonna help me, that will never work for me, because I got too much trauma behind that. So you have to go outside the box and say, no, let's go over here. Like Homeboy Industries worked for me because I went outside the box. I didn't go into the system. I went outside the system so it can work for me, and that's how it worked for me. And I think, like, if people were to vote, people were to actually go out there and change, make a difference, and not just go along with whatever laws people are trying to pass. This whole country is about fear. They always try to put fear in people, and it's not about that. It's about showing people love so they can be able to give other people love. Because fear, everybody can put fear on somebody, but how can you give somebody love so you can show the next person love? So to me, that's what I learned here, and I'm able to say I'm good with it. I'm good. Like I always tell people, as long as I get a little piece of Father Greg, anywhere I go, I'm gonna be all right, because he's showing me.
All right, hold on to it. I love it, Miguel. That's fabulous. Because it is love. Because this fear thing in our nation right now is terrible. It's tearing us apart. But this is the alternative. Yes. Frankie, you say you're obviously more introverted than Miguel, and I'm wondering how would you talk about this? What do you think we need in society that could make this difference, make this change?
More examples. People are already following people, and it hasn't always been the right person. I know, because I used to I didn't follow the wrong person, but I did follow under the activities, and now I'm not like that anymore. So when I go home and I go back into like my area, a lot of the people that know me and continue to see me, and they see that I'm not what I was a year ago or 2 years ago. They're like, how? Like, I have this best friend, and I've known him forever. He's lived on the same block, and he tells me, Frankie, I don't know how you do it. Like, ¿cómo le haces, like, para salir adelante, to keep moving forward? And I tell him, I mean, now I know it's God for sure, but also the little or all the support that I've been having my whole life, or even now, especially now with Homeboy Industries. When I go back and people see that I'm a different person, I don't do the things that I was doing. They ask, how is it that I'm able to have a new car? How is it that I'm able to pay off my insurance? How is it that I'm able to dress nice? Or why do I let my hair grow? Like, because before I would be all bald, but now I know that there's people that are bald and would love to have a nice hair, So I tell them, like, dude, I'm growing into a different person, a person who I probably wanted to be a long time ago, but because of my own choice, I waited this long to make this change now. So when I'm at home, people see this change and they look forward to it. So I tell them, look, Homeboys is here for you, though. It doesn't matter if you're scared. If you are, like, it's even better for you. But don't be. I was scared and I did it, and I'm with the functions, but I'm not with that anymore. So just whenever you're ready, I'll bring them. I've brought a couple of people, but they're scared, and I can't force them to come here. So all I can do is just be an example of the work that I keep doing on myself, on behalf of me, because of me. It's not just because people tell me do good and you'll get good. Like, it's not always like that. I do good because I want good for myself. And if I'm good, then I know the people around me, the people I care about and I love, are going to be well too, because like I said, I've always had a big heart. So I'm able to do that. It's like an ambassadorship of Homeboys when I go back.
Boy, that's perfect. That's perfect, isn't that? And now you're being an ambassador here for folks around the country who may be watching. And think that sense of caring for yourself enough, getting beyond the trauma, getting beyond what you were talking about, Miguel, the violence and the anger and the frustration, to find that love that you can meet and accept and then spread it. Those are huge steps. Those are huge steps that make all the difference. That makes all the difference. And we need more of this. We need more. So we only have a little bit of time left, and I'm wondering. I have one more question that I'm curious about, and Frankie, you said you met Father Greg early on, so I want to ask, how'd you meet him, and how'd you decide to come back? And then Miguel, I want to ask you, how'd you get connected to Homeboys? Because I think those are important stories to understand how you walk in the door. Because we sort of started with walking in the door, but how did that happen for you, Frankie?
I was in Challenger Memorial Youth Camp. It's a camp in Lancaster here in Los Angeles County, and I was doing time there. I forgot for what, but Father Greg would come into the camps, and I was lucky enough to be there one day, and he did the mass, and he said, "Have you done confirmation?" I said, "No." He goes, "All right, we'll work on it." So we did it, and I passed my confirmation easy. And he told me, when you come home, come to Homeboys. But then remember, I wasn't ready then. All I wanted to do was just gangbang. So when I went to Homeboys, when I came home, I saw guys that I fought with while I was in camp, and I was like, oh, nah, I'm cool. I'm just gonna fight here. I'd rather fight in my own neighborhood. At least there I know where to run, where to hide, and I'll be cool. But I wasn't out that long. I was only out for like not even a month, and I got arrested again. And then I got arrested again. I went back to camp. I did about a year. I came home. I was out for like 6 months. I got shot, and because of being shot, I threw myself even deeper into the water till I was 28. Till I was 28. So now, and I always knew about Homeboy Industries, but remember, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And so I knew that when you come to Homeboys, you have to leave everything behind. At least here, like, don't fight here, don't bring none of that like nonsense here, because there are men and women that are here trying to work on themselves, and if you come in, you might be a trigger to them. It doesn't go well. So I was ready to do that now, and it was embarrassing because Father Greg was here when I came, and he's never usually here, so I didn't want to talk to him because I was like, damn, like, but he saw me, and he was like, I remember you. I know you from somewhere. And I was like, yeah, we met a long time ago. And he told me, like, let me guess, you're ready to change, huh? And I was like, yeah, I am. He goes,
Yeah,
here you go. Come next week. We'll get you a job interview. You got to do a couple of steps before we actually, help you into the program. But I'm pretty sure you're going to do well here. So I was just consistent. And before you know it, it took me a little while though. It took me I think about a month and a half, and I got accepted into the program that I'm still part of. And ever since then, I do well, and I continue to push myself to do well. And that's how I met Father Greg. And then even now, like, I trip out, like, I'm actually here. I'm actually on I would have never thought when I was 15 I was gonna be on a meeting with Father Greg. Like, it's crazy.
I love it. I love it. That's fabulous, Frankie. That's fabulous. Well, Miguel, how did you find out about Homeboys?
So I served 18 years, 9 months, and 4 days.
But who was counting? Yes.
Nobody else was counting. I was. But after serving all that time, I got out on Friday. So Monday morning, I showed up to Homeboys, not knowing what to expect, what was going to happen. I was just like, oh man, like, I need to do tattoo removal, because my parole officer kept telling me, like, you have to remove the certain tattoos. They were like violent tattoos, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go tattoo removal. So the amazing part is, walking inside that door, I see the same guy that jumped me into my gang when I was 9 years old, standing there with a tie and a suit, and I was like, what the hell? What are you doing here? And he's like, I'm an executive here. I'm in charge of workforce development. And I was like, you're in charge of workforce development? What does that mean? And he's like, yeah, I get homies jobs. And so I looked at him and I was like, hey, how does this work? He's like, dog, it's something way different. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, are you ready for this? And I'm like, man, to be honest with you, I told him it's two things. I'm either you gonna get me in here, or you have to give me a gun so I can go back to the neighborhood and I could be able to have something in my pocket. I told him that's true, and he's like, "Oh, for real?" Well, I told him, yes. I really don't got too many choices right now. I'm gonna either go 100% over there or go 100 right here, and I don't know what is gonna happen. He's like, "Don't worry about it, man. I got you." So he got me into tattoo removal. I went to tattoo removal, started removing all my tattoos. As you can see, my face is kind of clear. My arms are clear now. I removed over maybe 70 tattoos.
Wow.
And
Did it hurt? Did it hurt?
Oh, it hurts like hell. Like it hurts. It hurts 10 times more than putting them on. Like for me, like everything's like I have my stomach, everything done, and everything's off now. And he put me to tattoo removal. When I came out, I had a therapist and a case manager waiting for me, and they're like, "Hey, you're gonna go see Father Greg right now." So he was pulling his strings and all that, and that's how I met Father Greg. And I started working the next day, and ever since then, I started doing cleaning windows, cleaning the bathrooms. And at first, to be honest with you, I was a little like, why am I going to clean bathrooms? Like, nah. And I had a little pride going on right there, a little pride problem. And then and then he stopped me. The guy that had jumped me, he stopped me. He's like, look, man, you have to just be able to work your way just like you worked your way in a gang. Work your way from the bottom to the top. He's like, and you are capable of doing this. So you be able to have different people there have been there with you in the past, in the negative life, and be here with you in the positive life was a lot. It would made it for me a lot easier. And he's like, look, I'm gonna take you to Father Greg. And I was like, man, do I really need to talk to him? Because it was a little intimidating for me to go talk to him, right? I was like, do I really need to talk to him? He's like, yeah, if you want a job, you do. And I was like, all right. And so I just showed up, and I was working part-time 4 hours a day, and I just decided to stay back into the building closed until they kicked me out every day. I didn't want to go back to the streets, so I just stayed here now. And now I'm here full time. I'm head of security. I take and I'm able, and I don't even like to call it security, call it community relations, because that's what we do with the homies. Is community relations. We just talk to each other and be like, hey, like I always tell them, this is a big church. This is the biggest church you're gonna find in LA. Do you want to be part of it? And I'm a Native American, and I follow the Native American ways, and I'm able to do this with Father Greg and everybody here, with nobody like being able to say, hey, that's not the right way. He just wants to take you in and say, hey, this is what it is. And that's how it works for me here at Homeboys, and it's been a beautiful experience. And I'm still working on a lot of things. And Father Greg is just one of those guys that he looks intimidating from the outside sometimes, but once you get to meet him, like sometimes he could be like my father, sometimes he could be like my brother, and sometimes he's just a friend. So as we get a little bit of everything with Father Greg, and I'm able to be privileged to be part of that. Like Frankie said, like whoever one of us will sit in a meeting with Father Greg, you know, and or actually have the time to go and just talk to him. A lot of people come in here, try to see him, and we're able to go see him whenever we need to see him. And that's what makes it like real. And not only him, but like even the CEO, I'm able to walk to the CEO's office and be like, hey man, I got a couple of questions about this, and talk to him about stuff like that, you know. And to every door was always open before this COVID thing. Like any office, anything that was going on, you could be able to go in there and be like, hey, I want to be an electrician. They're like, oh, okay, we could send you over here, do this, and start helping you out with different courses, you know. But yeah.
Wow. Well, it looks like we lost Father Greg. I think so many people were around. I think maybe he needed to go work. So I'm going to ask. We're almost to our time, and this recording is going to be up on our website. We've got people from all over the country watching it. So I'm going to ask each of you, Miguel and Frankie, what do you think ordinary folks can do around, you know, what do you want us to know or do to respond to our own needs in our communities, or be aware of people who need support for change? What is your message for us that we could put out there? What do you think?
Who's going first?
I don't care. Yeah, well, Miguel, you were just talking about it. I prefer a little more time to think about it. How would you prefer, Frankie?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Go ahead.
Man, there's so many things we can all do, and everyone. For the most part, just care about one another. Do unto others as you would want for yourself. Don't be so quick to judge. Like, you don't know what the next person's shoes are. I used to be like that too. I used to be like, oh, why are you so lazy? Get up, do these things. But there's times where I was lazy, and it wasn't because I didn't want to do things. It's because I'm in pain, or I'm really going through something. But you have to be precautious about how you approach people too. So just care out to others how you would want to be cared about, and then I think with that you'll have this common respect for the next person, and you're able to approach them, dude, and it'll come through. Trust, it comes through. There's a lot of times where I'm not in the best of moods, but I know that it is important for me to hold myself together to approach the next person, and I've done it. I've done it a lot of times, and it's worked out well. Um, I think that's the most important thing, and everything else will fall into place. Now, drastic changes for sure. Like, I know I could have been offered $1 million, and I would have probably still been the same kid I was at that age. But be patient too. Be patient. Don't be in such a hurry, because sometimes you'll miss the most important things in a hurry.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is so true, Frank. Do unto others, be patient, and keep your eyes open, I would think. See the opportunity.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, Miguel, to you. You'll get our last word.
See people. See people. A lot of people always walk by people, don't see people. And that's one of the things we learn here at Homeboys is how to see one another. And how to see everybody, even the tour people that come in, everybody, to be able to see them as a human being. And in the community, like, I always go back to my community now and try to like get involved in different stuff that got to do either like any election going on in the community, any neighborhood watch things, clean up. It's my block, it's my street. Like, why shouldn't I clean up my own street? And there's that, and be proud of like where you're from and where you come from, and what is it that you're trying to like have in the future. Like me, I always try to think about my kids. Like, there's gonna be their block when I'm gone. So how is this block gonna be better before they leave it? And then we start. I'm just saying, like, a smaller thing, like as a street, and then it goes bigger into like the city, the county, and people just need to learn how to. Yeah, it just grows and grows, and it's ever how we going to acknowledge each other as people that want something different. Like not on anybody could oppress somebody, but why should somebody lose their freedom for you to get something else? And it's about becoming just better people. Like, that's what I wake up every day and I just pray to God, like, let me get back home and let me just become a little bit better than I was the day before. And if we live by those kind of examples, and like my spiritual advisor always tells me, that walk like if your grandma's walking next to you at all times. And if I'm walking like that, that means I wouldn't do a lot of negativity and all that, because first of all, my grandma will pinch the hell out of me. and second of all, it's just like, it's being able to acknowledge people for who they are. And for a long time, I remember walking in my neighborhood and nobody would acknowledge me. They just be like, oh, that's another gang member here. It was fear. And if they acknowledge something was fear, and now they're able to see you and be like, "Hi, mijo, how you doing, Miguel?" And like how Frankie was saying, there's that examples we show. Like when we wear the Homeboy shirt outside of Homeboys doesn't need to go and put posters up. Hey, we're looking for people to come to Homeboys. They see other homies there, like Frankie and different homies here. That they see them with a Homeboy shirt, and they be like, "Man, how can we get to that place?" And that's how people come to Homeboys, because they see another homeboy and they be like, how can I get to that place where that guy is at right now? When somebody was able to cut him off and he's able to look at him, wave at him, and say, all right, man, you have a good one, instead of getting off your car and trying to fight him or something crazy, like, which is that. And it's able to just be like, acknowledge everybody. We're humans trying to just be regular people and love everybody needs love. And like, it's like I love my kids. I want everybody to be able to, like, to love my kids the same way like they were theirs.
That's what I hear. Frankie, you went in. One last word.
I actually had that happen to me. I was in a hurry and I cut off some man, and he got off his truck and he took off his seat. He was a Mexican man. He took off his belt buckle and he started hitting like the truck and everything. And I just saw him. I'm sorry. I cut you off. I'm in a hurry. And he goes, nah. He just kept like going on, but I had self control, and I probably showed him like, damn, like I thought this cholo was tough and a gangster and he was gonna do something, but he probably thought less of me because of that. But I know he can say like, not, I know he can, yeah, I know he can say like, not all cholos or gangsters are what people make them to be. They're not all like, you know, bad guys, I guess.
Wow. Wow. Great story. Great story. Okay. I got to end it here. Thank you so much for giving us a window into Homeboys industry. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, Frankie. Be sure to say thank you to Father Greg. I'm sorry we lost him because of the connection, but just know that we're with you in this, and we've learned a lot today about what we can do in our block, at our place, and how we can build this community that you folks are building at Homeboys. Thank you so much. You really are a gift to all of us.
So, everybody go vote.
Everybody,
yes. Everybody vote.
Did you see my sign?
Yes.
Who we elect matters. Yes, we will vote. All right.
Okay,
thank you all.
Okay. Bye.